So today I'm talking with Stacy Buckley, parent of Dexter, who has been in the academy for a while and plays the violin. So Stacy, remind me again, how old was Dexter when you guys started?
That would have been good to research. I should have maybe done it before. I'm gonna say 6. Does that sound right?
That does sound about right. It
Okay.
was pretty young, yeah. And how did you, I know we knew each other from some other mom groups when they were babies, but how did you decide to come and study Suzuki or violin? How did you come to that choice?
Yeah. So Dexter wanted to play violin when he was that age. We're not in that season right now where he wants to play violin, but at that season he wanted to. Right now, it's a struggle some days. I'm like, you have to practice. We're gonna keep with it. But at that time he was dying too, and you were the closest, honestly. Is why I picked you were in Greenfield and I'm in Greenfield. And so yeah, that's how I ended up.
And what do you remember about the beginning? What was it like when you first started like learning how to practice, those kinds of things?
Yeah, I enjoyed that it was hands-on. Like mom, I got to get involved and help, and I was taught right along with him, so I could, really help him when he was at home practicing. I liked that performances were right away. Like I always think that's rewarding for kids when you get to work towards something. It's not just practice, practice, practice all the time and nothing fun. And so I really enjoyed like French Market or concert at the landmarks, like what all those things that he kind of got to do that added a bit of a goal for him.
Cool. That's great. Yeah. What were some of the best experiences or moments that you guys that have been memorable that you're looking back on were some of your favorite things?
Yeah, for sure. Chicago. So I don't even remember exactly that up there they were celebrating like an anniversary of their studio or academy or something. And so we were invited, and Dexter only knew 5 songs maybe at the time. I'm not sure, not many. Um, and he was so excited, and it was a beautiful place. And I'll never forget, he came out and he's like, Mom, I think we got started too late because, so many in the Suzuki world start really small, and we just didn't even know that, or it wasn't on our radar. And so he said, Mom, I think we're too late. I think you're going to be fine, buddy.
So they say you're rarely too young and never too old to start.
Excellent. Excellent. And it's been good. He had done some other little music classes before, so I mean I wasn't worried, but it was funny. He was worried. But that
Yeah.
and then landmarks. I mean, I distinctly remember his first concert, and it was, yeah, it was good.
That's neat. Well, you guys are good too about doing the community performances and taking Dexter to things. Do those kind of motivate him, or does that help him
I
to get
think so.
excited about it?
Um, I think so. I think for us as parents, Jared and I, it helps motivate us that we're not pouring this resources, time, money into Dexter, and he never shares it, or we never give back. And so, as a family, I think we like it. Whenever we performed at that nursing home in McCordsville, like that was hilarious. We love that because it was like happy hour at the nursing home, but they had in live
Yeah.
instruments.
I didn't know that people could do that at the nursing
I
home.
know. It was great. It helped Jared and I prepare for when what we might want to look for in our nursing home. But it was great. And he still talks about that. And he'll be like, remember when I played for happy hour? And so, yeah, I mean, we've always enjoyed the community being able to share what he's doing.
That was fun. I miss being able to do that because of COVID. I'm hoping soon we can do those
I
things.
know it is hard for sure.
Yeah.
That's one of the things we do love. It's just the community, and it kind of goes both ways. Like I love that we have group lessons. It's not just him by himself all the time. Like I think that would make it a little rough. But then also that he has that responsibility to the community as well at the March concert. If he plays during Allegretto when everyone else is quiet, not the end of the world, but he has a responsibility to the community as well to practice and do his best on that day.
Oh, that's neat. I like the idea that the whole group is like bringing each other up to a high standard and wanting the kids to do well for each other. That's a neat idea. So
For sure. It's something I didn't even know that I would appreciate so much as a parent about Suzuki, but I definitely do love that we have group lessons and that they're not all year. Like it's not like every week we have group lessons. Like I think the season is perfect.
Yeah, it is hard to do it all year. Yeah, you need it. You need a season of a break and everything. So tell me a little bit about some of the ups and downs. Sometimes parents will say to me, oh, my child's really struggling to practice. And knowing that I've got three that are practicing, I'm like, that is pretty normal. So tell me what that looks like in your family, and tell me the great moments, but also tell me the like not so great moments that are just real. Because I
Right.
know we have them at our house.
For sure. We have them at our house. Probably thankfully for Dexter, he has an older sister that does piano. And so I kind of was anticipating he wouldn't love and want to practice violin always. So it didn't come as a surprise. Actually, Addison's piano teacher, my daughter's piano teacher, has a graph that they had researched that over time, like music, it's not like whoop, that it's more like I love it and I had a performance or I practiced and then I'd rather be doing this and like so it's like this more jagged. And so for sure we've had times that he's wanted to quit or wanted, just not wanted to practice. And if you put like we just push through, I don't know if that's the best. But something comes around the bend that motivates him, or he finally passes a song that he's been working on, and so then he's like motivated and like, yeah, and I get a new song, and then he'll work hard, and then there'll be another season. But I think that's part of why we make, we require our kids. I think it actually may have been you that told me that it was like 7 years. Or it was kind of a waste of your money, like they wouldn't retain anything and like all your work. And so we had told that to my daughter, and her 7 years was up last year or the year before. And she wanted to stay in it. Her piano teacher was so nervous, and she's like, no, I want to keep with it now. And so just keeping that long goal in mind. And yeah, I think he'll be the same. He loves it at times. And it's definitely like a stress reliever at times. He'll just go in and play, and it's something that he does that not everyone else does and he can be good at. And so, yeah, I mean, definitely hard times. He's not as easy. Addison, like for piano, will be like, oh, let's get your nails painted before, like we try and throw in some fun things that make piano fun. But for him, it's more setting small goals that he can accomplish. Like, well, let's just work to get this piece passed, or like you said, the community bringing him up, because at the beginning of this year, he noticed some kids were ahead of him that had kind of been on the same track with him previously. And so he's like, Mom, I need to work harder. So that's been a great motivator too.
Yeah. Well, and that's a tricky thing because we all learn the same pieces. It's easy to say, oh, that person passed me up, when in reality, like he was working on another skill, or like we were learning vibrato, or right. And so there's different seasons when the speed, it's not necessarily a
sure.
to go through the songs, but sometimes it's hard for the kids to see that, but that's neat. Are there any skills that you've seen developed in him that have kind of carried over into other parts of his life or his schoolwork, or how does that kind of go together with what you're trying to teach him as a parent?
Like, I can't think of good specifics, but I mean, I just think of like hard work and like you have to put forth the practice to reach a goal, responsibility. And we kind of consider violin part of his schooling. And so like TV time or, video games or even robotics time, like all that comes after he's got his work done for the day. And so skills like that for sure. Being in front of people I love, like I think, I don't think he plans to be a great orator or anything or speak in front of people a lot, but just that he feels comfortable. I mean, I would probably be nervous getting, I didn't mention, but playing with the ISO anytime we get to, or like the chamber orchestra when we did that, like I might be nervous on stage with them, but just that he's had those experiences, I think are going to help him in life. What else? Those are some of the big ones, I think.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's what it has been fun to watch him grow, because when they're so young, they don't care. And then when they get into
they don't know.
Oh, right. I care, but I'm already good at this, so it's okay.
For sure.
So that's neat.
Yes.
Um, yeah, I'm trying to think. And I think, anything else, would you have any advice for a new parent or as a parent that's really not done much with Suzuki or music lessons? And like, what advice would you have given yourself now, like 6, 7 years later, that you kind of the wisdom that you have from afar?
I'm not sure. Like, I feel like you kind of have to have some long-term goals and kind of know your why. Like, Jared and I thought it was super important for them to have some kind of musical education. Not necessarily that we thought they were great musicians, going to use it as a career. They might, I don't know, but more just for brain development and, like I mentioned earlier, stress relief and just something they have in their toolkit for life. And so I think if I didn't have that goal or that why kind of back there all the time, when you do have those battles to get practice in or battle, just for anything that they're not wanting to do related to violin, then I think it would have been harder for me. I like setting little goals, and like we had when he was little reward charts, like anything you can do to encourage them, I think in that beginning season is good. And like just to really celebrate when they do pass a song or, at the concert, Dexter always has grandparents there and it's a big deal. And so just really celebrating their accomplishment and taking a step back, I guess, and not looking in the weeds, as they say, or whatever, but seeing how far he has come.
Yeah. Have you seen kind of a process of how you've understood like the listening and the review, like the importance of those two things, how he's kind of come accustomed to that way of working?
Amazing. Like God's creation of the brain amazes me. Just that, like when we listened early on, I was just amazed at how quick he could pick up. And so in the car, all the time we were listening to Suzuki songs. And honestly, I implemented a little bit more of it with my daughter because they encouraged it, but not quite as much. And we got a CD of songs she was playing on piano, and she would listen to them early too. So it really does. I'm glad you brought it up. Yes, that's a great practical piece of advice. Like listening really helps.
Well, as he's been studying the new concerto, the sites, he was struggling a little bit in the very beginning with that section, and just week after week, it was just like hitting his head against the wall. And then I remember like we stopped and we're like, hey, wait a second, are you listening? He's like, well, like, right. And we're like saying we're not listening like we should because we're not driving and during the pandemic. So,
Sure.
And then as soon as he started the listening and the really careful practice, it was like whoosh, like we went just from like hitting our head against the wall to whoosh. It was amazing to see like the core things from the very beginning that, oh yeah, we're still using those skills.
and we do listen a lot in the car early, but like it's a great thing because he can play Legos and listen. He can jump on the trampoline and listen. Like he can take the listening with him. So that's a lot easier sometimes to win that battle than to win practicing or going over the same few measures 10 times.
Right. That the woodshed.
Then it might make that easier, honestly. Then you don't have to go over it quite as many times because he has it what it's supposed to sound like in his ear.
Yeah. Well, is Dexter 12 now?
Yes, he's 12.
Yeah, 12. This is the age where like we're kind of starting to wean from the young child with the parent practicing all the time to teaching him how to practice on his own. And seeing my 14-year-olds, the twins, like they've started to, it's a process though, they started to do that, and they know their teacher wants them to repeat these measures this many times, but it's not always easy for them to hold themselves accountable to that, but they're growing into it, so it's just little steps, step by step.
And then when they see that how that works, you just hope that then, okay, see, like you went over that measure 10 times and listen to how great those measures are now. And yeah, you just hope as a parent that a lot of that catches, that you don't have to tell them that every time.
Yeah, that's not fun, the reminding. They say we're professional reminders. That's what we are as teachers and parents. We're professional reminders.
For sure.
But yeah, and if they can grab a hold of it, that's where the magic happens, because then they start to play and be like, oh, I need to do that measure this is what I need to do on that spot to make it more beautiful when I play it and make it easier. So that's neat to see him at the beginning of that process. So
Yeah, listening was huge for him.
yeah. Well,
Still is.
I just appreciated your family so much, and just that you're always dedicated. And I know you make a really long drive to come to group class. And but I think, you know, during those times when you have made those extra commitments, you know, to come to extra performances or to make sure you're there, even when it's snowing on a group class day, like, I mean, it just really supports him in his journey, and it just keeps him going through. Because, you know, there will be the ups and downs. Like, oh, I'm really practicing today, but but
Yes.
you kind of get the long range view. So
Yeah.
you guys are amazing Suzuki parents. And I know Jared too, he sat through a lot of lessons. I'm like, oh, poor dad has to sit through this lesson.
No, he loves it. He misses it. So he'll be there Wednesday. So
Oh, good. Very good. Very good.
yeah.
Well, I will end the recording here.